I'm alive. I shouldn't be.
He should not be alive. This is unfucking believable.
From the heart of trucker America, my boy Reed Coverdale, host of The Naturalist Capitalist.
This is what government does. It sucks.
If you think you're going to win people over by stating commonplaces, you're just selling the other part.
It is about dictating every transaction that you have for the rest of your life.
Mr. Potato Head.
Coverdale is the guy to be president of the United States.
You intimidated me with your perfect 74 stat.
That was the beginning of my problems.
He died doing what he loved, chasing a minor.
But I'll put a 50 cal attached to my Suburban.
Libertarians need to get out of New York.
The gulag is going to be in your house.
This guy's a fucking murderer. He deserves to be in a
Gotta get him out of that truck at night and get him into the White House.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in for another episode of The Naturalist Capitalist. Tonight we're doing our 14th installment of the Four Horsemen. Real quick, if this is your first time here, please subscribe to the channel. Also in the description, you can find links to Odyssey, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and numerous other platforms where you can follow me. Please check me out on all those platforms. Who knows how long I'll be on YouTube. All right, without any further ado, let's get into the show. This is one of the most anticipated shows I've done in a long time. As always, we have my pal, Eric Jackman, riding shotgun. How you doing, Eric?
Rock and roll, Reed. I'm doing great, man. I have to say it was an incredible Easter. I got up, I got back down. I was resurrected. I was insurrected. I was inserted. I was inputted, outputted, everything in between. And we did a great job. And we are very excited to be here. We got a fucking huge show tonight. It's going to be great, Reed. Going to be great. You know I love you.
All the way across the pond in Japan, we have the ghost of Ryan Dawson. How are we doing tonight, Ryan?
I'm doing very well. If you want to get into Ukraine today, we can. But I have a feeling this one's going to be all over the map.
Oh, yeah, just as usual. So we've got the guy. He's always on the grind. He's prime time 99. Alex Stein on the show.
Let's go! We got the Four Horsemen. And it's funny, we were just talking. I mean, that intro, you have a lot of esteemed guests, Abby Martin, a lot of big time people, Larry Sharp, Spike Cohen. I mean, I can't even name them all. And then you said this is an anticipated episode, so I feel good. Wow, it's such a pleasure. Thank you for having me, Reed, Eric, and Ryan. I'm telling you, I've been a big fan of yours for a long time. I've watched a lot of your debates. And you and I are very similar wavelengths when it comes to the events on 9/11.
Good. So, yeah, Alex, I kind of started that.
You started 9/11 Truth? Oh, come on. Okay, well, let's wait before we get into it, because now let me get
my the coin, that phrase 9/11 Truth was a guy named Tyler from MySpace. We created that group, but 2 days after it was made, I got kicked off of MySpace.
Wow, so you've been a 9/11 truther since the MySpace days. Okay, but and this is y'all's show. I don't want to take it over, but I had to ask a couple questions. So Ryan, when you look at like Loose Change, because that was a documentary that changed my mind. I don't know, Reed, are you familiar with Loose Change?
Yeah, I'm familiar.
Okay, are you, Eric? I'm saying, where does that on the scale of accuracy? Obviously, it's not 100% accurate. But
they got the date right. That's about it.
That's it. Yeah, I heard you hate Loose Change. So you don't like anything from Loose Change whatsoever.
Nothing. That they're the reason why people can't take it seriously.
Why is that?
It's like the virus deniers for COVID-19. There's all these. There's legitimate, nuanced adult view you can have on the coronavirus, but saying viruses don't exist, well, that already gets Fauci off the hook. You can't have a tailor-made, man-made virus in Wuhan with gain-of-function research from EcoHealth that goes back to NIH if you don't think viruses are real. And you have no paper trail back to foreign governments and our own government on 9/11 if you're denying airplanes and saying it's missiles and pods and stuff. And the thing is, even after the fact, 2 of the 3 loose changers said, okay, we're but young and idiots. One of them's still going, Jason Burmis. He just will not let it die. Does
Loose Change talk about the Israeli art students on the 93rd floor?
They don't talk about Israel at all. All they talk about is nonsense. They say a missile hit the Pentagon. They say Flight 93 was shot out of the air and just.
Well, what hit the Pentagon? Not a plane hit the Pentagon.
Oh no, Flight 77 hit the Pentagon. It did.
You think a plane hit? How you think it hit that low?
Well, the same way they land on runways.
And so you think it kind of drove in there? It must have been on the runway.
It's just like landing a plane, except you don't put the landing gear down. If you want to hit the first floor of a building, it's just like landing on a runway. Hundreds of thousands of planes do it every day.
What in Shanksville though? You do think the plane hit the ground and then hardened in the
Yeah,
ground?
because we have 95% of the debris and the black box. So yeah.
Yeah, Alex, if you
Wow.
want to really dig into 93, go watch my video with Jason Burmis, because if a plane gets shot out of the sky, and they even show pictures of this in Loose Change. They show pictures of the I forget what flight it was, but the flight that got bombed in the 90s, I think it was. And there's huge pieces of the fuselage all over the ground, huge pieces of the wings everywhere, because when it blows up in the sky, then everything just kind of falls when it reaches whatever terminal velocity it can. So you'll find big chunks everywhere, where with Flight 93, there's like a silhouette of a plane in the ground and everything was pulverized. You found a piece of the engine a bit away, and then you found another piece over here. But like Ryan said, like you find the whole plane, but it's in tiny, tiny pieces because it's just been.
We have witnesses who saw it. They're not a bunch of crisis actors. And you have the black box.
What about the passports?
You have audio
though?
recordings.
But Ryan, you don't think those passports were fake though, right?
Well, they got rubber stamped passports out of Jeddah, Saudi Arabia.
I know, but do you think that the passports were on the plane and that the FBI actually found those next to the building? You believe that?
Well, in New York, it's very improbable that A, a passport is going to survive. It's not impossible, but B, that you're going to find it in knee-deep rubble. It wasn't the FBI that found it. It was the police, and an unnamed witness came by and handed it to Bernard Carrick, the same guy that was in Israel getting a $250,000 loan from Wertheimer in August 28th, just a week and change before September 11th, who ended up going to jail for 10 years for frauds. No, I don't trust that guy.
But
so
what
Alex,
about?
Do you know about Ziad Jarrah on Flight 93? Do you know about that whole backstory?
Was that the pilot? Was that the guy that was supposedly flying? I know Muhammad Atta's backstory. He's a cokehead and married the stripper, and then killed that girl's cats and all that. But no, who was the guy on Flight 93?
Man, this is like a lesson in disinfo. Yeah. So this one guy at a flight school said so. Is it look? These flight schools are the same people involved in Iran-Contra moving drugs back and forth for the government. Right? Yeah. Who cares what they say, or Rudy Decker, or any of these people? Like fuck Muhammad Atta. Zaid al-Jarrah's two of his first cousins got caught as Israeli spies in Lebanon months after 9/11, and that's the guy whose passport survived. By the way, a little corner was burned off. They said there's no mention of this guy on the black box.
Eric.
There's no mention of this guy. So we have the recordings. It was in the Moussaoui trial. We have the transcript, which you can read. And every single witness says there's 3 hijackers instead of 4. And he's supposed to be flying the plane, yet he's not flying the plane because the other hijackers themselves call out a different person's name, telling him to go up, up, down, down, and shake the plane, right? Ziad's not on there at all. And then,
do you think
then you find out that not only is he related, a 9/11 hijacker, a pilot, is related to Israelis. He's related to people in Israeli intelligence that have been spying on Hezbollah.
I think it's pretty obvious. I think it's pretty obvious when we look at the Project for a New American Century that the plan was to destabilize the 7 biggest threats to Israel in the Middle East. So, I mean, obviously Israel was all over it. But so do you think, like Muhammad Atta, after it said his son was, in the Middle East somewhere, like, so do you think those guys, none of them existed?
Those 7 biggest threats that you're getting from Wesley Clark's bit on we had a plan to invade 7 different nations, right? Well, they said that came from upstairs, right? Because we got the plan from upstairs. It's worse than that. Now with 7 different countries. Upstairs is Richard Pearl's office. He's talking about the Defense for Policy, who had been caught at spying for Israel in the 70s. And is a hardcore Zionist. They called him the Prince of Darkness. He set up an office within an office under Douglas Feith called the Office of Special Plans that cherry-picked and fabricated evidence about Iraq to go to war there. And, it's all these neocons. And they're all, when you say neocons, they all have a certain loyalty to a foreign state. And many of them have been caught spying for them in the past, and there's no consequences for it. That's who cherry picked all this stuff. It was Feith, it was Wolfowitz, it was Pearl, it was David Fromm who wrote the Axis of Evil speech that Bush went out and did. He's also involved with the Ukraine shenanigans. So
do you think if that shoe would have hit George Bush, the world would be a better place?
I think it was kind of cool that our president could get out of the way like that. That was the first time I was ever proud of him.
And look, he's good at dodging DWIs. You can
for old age. Yeah.
Okay.
So Alex, what he's getting at though, basically, is you have a hijacker who allegedly is flying Flight 93, who's directly related to people in Israeli intelligence.
Yeah.
So instead of going after that rabbit trail, finding out who these hijackers were, and because you have phone calls from the passengers on Flight 93 saying there's 3 dark-skinned males on the plane.
Right.
When if Ziad Jarrah were on there, there'd be 4, and he's also a light-skinned dude. He's not dark-skinned. So when you have all these eyewitness accounts, what are there, like 6, Ryan?
And
6
first thing
calls?
they do is they say the phone calls are fake. They don't want any corroborating evidence, right? And then they don't tell you the story about the spy ring at all. They're just like, oh, what? All the hijackers are still alive and just shit like that, right? To get you lost, man. They did get you barking up the wrong tree.
Are you talking about the Israeli art students spy ring? They got
a different spy ring. The Israeli art students was protecting a black market ecstasy ring worth about $80 million that was used as the budget for this whole thing. And that was down on Florida. And they were spying on Al-Qaeda to protect them from local law enforcement.
I want to add, Ryan, to that. Alex, if you ever want to look into the ecstasy ring with the Israelis, Robbie Martin from Media Roots, Abby Martin's brother.
A lot of that ecstasy. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, speaking of ecstasy, Sean Atwood here. But Robbie Martin from Media Roots, Abby Martin's brother, has done exhaustive research on those Israeli ecstasy rings all around the country and how they were trying to infiltrate defense installations, selling fake art and all kinds of bullshit like that. So, and he's dug around in Florida and found some really interesting stuff. I'm sure, Ryan, you know a lot about that. Some of the properties down there.
Christopher Ketchum and Counterpunch and Valentine. A lot of people have gone in and damn, man, go in my archive. I've interviewed people from the DEA and everything else all about it. Like they were spying on them. Mike Rivera was good on that. Actually, he was on this show.
But
yeah.
what about the bee thing?
Systems.
Yeah. But what about gelatin, the bee thing? The Israeli art students on the night.
No, that is.
So you think that's fake? You said they were.
No, they weren't Israeli. Fuses? They're from Austria.
There's Lytel fuses.
No, dude.
Lytel fuses are fake.
That's that woman who said she was a flight attendant.
So you don't think there was any pre-planned explosives? How do you think Tower 7 fell?
There is evidence of explosives, but the gelatin bee thing is another red herring getting you barking up the wrong tree. Like, boxes with letters and numbers on it. That's just the mail codes. That's all it is. You can take any 2-digit number and it's going to relate to something in the military. It's nothing there. They weren't from Israel. They were from Austria. And what that does is it created a dragnet on Google so that when people looked at the Israeli art student story, it all went to this bullshit instead of Martin and Rivero and the people have been really looking at it. Myself too.
Do you think planes actually took down the towers?
Well, it was a combination of the planes and the fire prevention systems being sabotaged prior to anything hitting there. And did you know this? Israelis were caught illegally working on the fire prevention systems in the World Trade Centers, got caught in another license scandal and went to jail for 10 years. Know their names.
Yeah,
they worked on the companies they work for also have been indicted and in prison for faking fire suppression credentials. They had a fake business that faked reference letters and everything else. It was just a residential address to some guy in Brooklyn, Sergey Denko and David Connell, and they created a company that wasn't real to hire people to sabotage the fire prevention systems, but they said they were upgrading them. And the FBI said, oh, really? Because the Port Authority does all of those contracting and we don't have anything. FBI agent's name was Susan Nash. She's the one that investigated the murder of Catherine Smith, who died the day before she went to court to tell them more information on these people. And they're like, well, it must have been a tenant that hired them because the Port Authority has no record of doing any work on the fire prevention systems, elevators, or anything else. We didn't contract anybody.
But they did have irreparable asbestos. So they had the bad asbestos, though. Isn't that why they were working on it? Because they had irreparable asbestos within the building?
They weren't working on the asbestos though. Officially, they were okay. They got arrested.
Well, because you know the bid I'm talking about. You know how that's why basically the Port Authority sold the building.
Yeah, I know.
It's
they had
a bid for $1 billion asbestos removal that they couldn't afford.
Yeah,
and so they had to put a new fire prevention system in it.
Yeah, they weren't. That has nothing to do with it. They
so it didn't have asbestos in it.
They had asbestos, but that's not what they were doing. They they claimed their lie was we're working on the upgrading the sprinkler systems and this and that, but they were doing the opposite. The World Trade Centers had relay pumps. I think it was every 16 or 32 floors or something. Well, if you break the bottom two, then the water doesn't have to go to the top. You don't have to hit every floor or anything. You just have to hit the relay, and they didn't work. And that's why you're going to get maximum damage from a fire if the sprinkler systems don't come on, because the fire department can't even reach that high. That's why so many of them were going up the stairs and died in the tower.
Because Palmer made it up to the top. He made it up to like the 90th.
Yeah, a couple, but like I'm talking about with the hose and everything, they didn't get all the way up there. And the ones where they finally did, and then by the time they got up there and started fighting the fire, they pull the trigger and the whole building comes down on them, and a lot of them died. Well, you know.
So Alex, there's another thing with the Pentagon. You know, there's reports from inside the room where Cheney was. He was, you know, there was an aide asking him, "Hey, sir, there's
POC
a plane
bunker.
that's."
Yeah. Norma Mineta was like, "Hey, is it this? You know, yeah." He's like, "Has the plane
it's
changed?
Like 60 miles out. It's 50 miles out."
And he's like, "No, what? Has
10 miles
anything?"
out.
Yeah, he's like, "No, is anything?" Why? And Dick Cheney got all pissed at him. So what about that?
He whipped his neck around and said, "Of course not." No, so
you can't do that with a missile.
Shanksville's not 30 miles from anything. They're talking about Flight 77.
Well, I'm not saying that there weren't planes, but I just don't believe that they were the same American Airlines or the same United flight. I think they had to be some sort of different plane, because when you look at the footage, it looked like they were gray. I mean, it just looked different. Even the latest footage that came out.
United is gray.
You know what I mean? I'm just saying personally, I don't think those are the same planes. I don't know why. I mean,
well, we have DNA from all the passengers that were on the plane.
But we don't have a black box from DNA from which scene.
We do have a black. We have two black boxes. Actually.
Yeah, but we're missing two though from the ones.
Well, we don't have the ones in New York, but we have the ones from the Pentagon in Shanksville. And missing the black box in New York is not that mysterious when you have two buildings of that size, plus building 6 and 7 and all that debris. You're probably not going to find a lot, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people saw at least the second plane running into the building. There's no doubt about it. You don't need a black box, right?
Did you know the planes were basically empty? There's only like 30 passengers on the planes that morning. You know,
they were like only at 25% capacity for going cross country, but that's not unusual on a random Tuesday flying from one side to the other. But they got the cross country flight so it would have maximum fuel.
Yeah, I know that from Boston Logan. Yeah, but see, like, when you look at the footage from Logan, it's just such a joke. I mean, that looks so fake, you know.
Yeah.
All that.
Well, that's our state, right? All the cameras don't work when there's a subway shooting, right? It's called there's a list of all the times the cameras didn't work, like Epstein getting killed. Like, but I don't bank it on the footage, right? It's all the people on those planes are dead. Their families aren't just making that up, right? Everybody that was on there was murdered, and they did forensic evidence, dental and everything else. In the Pentagon, there were bodies, even like whole bodies. They weren't incinerated. That they found everybody other than the baby. Unfortunately, there was a baby on Flight 77 have been identified. Their DNA was at Walter Reed. The pathologist went in there. You have debris from the plane. You got a big plane size hole, the first floor. Loose change shows you the hole in the second floor, which is just like the tail hit, and they never show you the bottom floor, and they act like, look, there's only this tiny hole, plane doesn't fit in there, and they're just lying to you. It's a big fucking gaping hole on the bottom.
That hole's not that big, though. That hole of the Pentagon is not that. I'm not trying to argue that it's not that
picture of it down here.
Okay. What about this though, Ryan? What about that? You know, have you seen that article about the hospitals on the day of it not being packed in Manhattan?
What?
Have you read the articles how the hospitals, you know, they interviewed the hospital and they said they saw very few people that, you know, the article I'm talking about? Here, let me pull it up. Where they said like there was very few people that was actually in the hospital that day.
Yeah, I imagine they more removing the morgue than the hospital.
That's what they said. That's what the hospital said. They're like,
well, who's going to survive a plane running into a building?
I was working prepared, but here, this is it. I'll put it in the thing. It said, well, like, don't you think it would have been, you just would have expected a bunch of people Let's put it in the chat. So you have it, but it's a Daily Beast article, so who knows? But it said, you know,
the Daily Beast. They call me a Holocaust denier.
Yeah, but you know it's fake. I'm just saying, as I was, you know, in this article, basically they talk about on that clear blue day in September, I was working at Manhattan's Bellevue Hospital. I prepared for chaos, but none came. People either escaped or they didn't. So it's like either people. But I'm just surprised, even forget about like 9/11 truth. I'm just surprised from the, you know, we know that all the firefighters and a lot of the cops did get cancer after the fact. I mean, that's real. You believe that?
Oh, yeah. Well, there was asbestos all over the buildings, and either they died or they didn't is pretty accurate because basically everybody on the plane dead instantly. Anybody on the floor where the plane hit dead instantly. And 99.9% of the people above the impact zone are just dead. Everyone under it, you had an hour to get out of the building. So most of them did. It's the ones that were either in the impact zone or above, you had almost zero chance to survive.
No, do we know how many stray cats got killed?
The South Tower.
6 million.
The South Tower is the one they could sneak by, right? Because the plane hit at an angle, so they could get around in one corner of the building.
Stairwell A or whatever. Was
Ryan, what's your take on?
You had 4 choices. If you guessed right, you got out. You didn't, you didn't.
What's your take, Ryan, on Huntley and ICTS running the security at Logan? Is there anything to that? Is that important to look into, or is that more red herring?
It's like I rank the arguments like A, B, C, D. That's like a C minus. It's not nothing, but it's like unnecessary because we have so much better, you know, balls on the chopping block type of things. Like, well, this guy's the family's Israeli spies, right? You know, these people got arrested doing illegal work on the World Trade Center's fire prevention systems, which didn't work. I mean, that Huntley, to me would be front. And
Huntley
center.
was ICTS, and Huntley were run by former Shin Bet people, right?
I know. But it's all circumstantial. It's like, yeah, you and I know, and that's how that is for a lot of these.
Well, what could be important about that, or useful to understand that, is how these guys got some of this shit on these planes. To look like either fake bombs or box cutters or whatever kind of weapons they might have had.
They got stuff on the planes by bribing the ramp crews. And I've interviewed people on the ramp crew. So that's how a lot of people move drugs around. This is not a secret, right? Like, if you want to get something on the plane, do what Escobar did. You either infiltrate the flight attendants who do it for you, or even better, the people handling the luggage and stuff can pass things along, especially something as small. But the box cutter thing is also some 9/11 mythery because they had knives. And we know that because we have them on film buying the knives at Walmart and stuff. And then we have the knives in the debris list of Flight 93 are these big Bowie knives. So I don't think it was anybody other than the hijackers that had the big Bowie knives.
So do we believe in 93 that they rammed the cart and said, let's roll? You think that is real?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think them exploiting that for a Chevy commercial was pretty lowbrow, but
dude, they made a whole movie. Not just a Chevy commercial. They made an entire movie. That's why I think it's fake. If they
there
make a
happened
movie
to be a second-degree black belt judoka on Flight 93, and so that was serendipitous that you have a professional martial artist on the plane. That probably helped.
You think he did some? He did some Taekwondo.
Well, that's the ideal one to have on a plane aisle. He was ramming. But it would see that flight, they were flying upside down, according to witnesses, and then they went nose first into the ground. So it's very different from other plane crashes where they don't want to crash. They put the landing gear down, they land at an angle, they at least try to survive.
Yeah.
They went full speed straight down, not like this, not like, you know, going 45 degrees.
Eric, remember that fucking video you sent me of that happening again with
that's happened a couple times. People
there was one like
the Discovery Channel did it too. They're like, here, this is what happens. We take aluminum tube and run it even to concrete, not even the ground. It just there's nothing left of it. Like,
and
Eric, what was that video that you sent me? Remember, it was the Korean airline or something.
I think it was in China recently, and it was just a nosedive.
I'll try to find him.
Yeah, nothing
left.
Left.
It just looks like it fell out of the sky.
Well, Trump was wondering, I was wondering about the dancing Israelis if they were doing the electric slide or the Macarena. Were they doing the Macarena?
They had bombs. Trump the day of. You've heard Trump's interview the day of.
Oh, you look at these buildings. These were very powerful buildings. There had to have been something more than the planes to take them down. I mean, these were tough, powerful, strong buildings. Okay.
Well, there is some evidence of that. Pat Dawson reported on it. Rick Sanchez reported on it. The fire chief, before he died, reported on it, and the cops. who said they found a suspicious device in a bomb inside a van, which had been what they did is similar to the 93 World Trade Center attack. They put vans in the parking garage, which is the lower section of the building below, by the basements,
the foundation.
And in addition to the plane hitting above and the sprinklers being broken, there may have been some truck bombs on the bottom. And the reason I say that is because our own news media, cops and fire department said we have found explosive devices in a van.
Well, that black security guard. That black security guard is full of crap, though. He said that he was above and he saw people come up on the elevator that were all burned up, insinuating that there was probably some sort of explosive on the ground. Do you know the guy I'm talking about? The guy that
guys, real quick, Adam Fitzgerald is watching, and he's just posting some stats here.
Bring him in, dude.
Let's see. We got 10 patients were brought to Inova Alexandria Hospital suffering from injuries ranging from burns to head lacerations, according to Kathleen Berry, Chief Nurse Executive. And then we got this one. Virginia Hospital Center in Arlington reported treating 30 patients, 8 of whom were in critical condition, according to a spokeswoman. 3 earlier reports of other explosions in the Washington region at the State Department and Capitol were not accurate, law enforcement officials said.
Yeah, we didn't even bring that up, but that's another thing. They tried to be like, oh, they've hit this. And I also like how the whole media, without any investigation, where it said Flight 93 was going to hit the White House. Well, how do you know where it was going to go? But they all just decided that was the fourth target, and that's just what they went with.
Well, why did all those Israel on the Israel WeChat app get notifications not to go to work that day?
You're talking about Odigo.
You're talking about Odigo, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but a couple of them did come forward and say, "Hey, I got this weird warning saying not to go in." They were not Israeli; they were just American Jews.
Well, again, that kind of.
But it's an Israeli app for sure.
Yeah.
They probably had the same name as someone else, so they got the message too. And they came forward and said, "Look, this is foreknowledge. I was warned not to go on this message app." And that's just the 2 people that had the nuts to come forward and say, "Look at what I have." There may have been more that got the message and just kept quiet.
And you know, though, that after the 93 bombing, that a lot of the tenants left. So there's only mainly the specialty tenants that had some sort of specialty offices stayed. Isn't that, I mean, wouldn't you agree with that?
Well, the 1993 bombing is a complete
saying after it.
FBI sting operation anyway.
No, that was totally false flag. But I'm saying after it, you know, it's like you see those pictures where there was whole floors of WTC you could totally see through. There were empty floors. You know, I mean, you saw that. That's not fake.
Well, there's a big hole in the garage, so I imagine they would be empty.
But you know what I'm talking about after a lot of the tenants left after that first bombing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't you if your place of work 100%. Got bombed? Like,
yeah, I wouldn't want to spend.
Like, why is it a mystery that Larry Silverstein bought insurance when the same buildings had been attacked already in '93? You're going to buy terror.
What about Zim shipping, Ryan?
So, guys, this is that clip of that plane from a few weeks ago.
Oh,
Infowars.com.
Yeah. So
that was Randy Orton with the RKO out of nowhere.
That looks like the courtroom after my second divorce. Boy, my lawyer had a field day. My lawyer had a field day. Total disaster. Look at that, up in flames. That's what the toilet looks like after Rosie O'Donnell eats at Arby's. Okay, just total disaster, complete destruction, explosion, and disaster in China.
So, Alex,
in China.
We got into 9/11 before you could even talk about yourself at all. So you've never been on the show. I'm sure everyone knows who you are, but what's going on? You're all over the place, man. You're on Fox News. You're blowing up everywhere.
It's on Tucker
how long
Carlson.
have you been trolling all these people and then
oxygen
just blow up out of nowhere, or have you been slowly growing, or did they just all happen at once, or what's the deal, man?
Dude, I'm primetime 99, and what they say is you got to work every day of your life to become an overnight success, and that's my case because I worked. I graduated from LSU in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I'm a pimp, eating all the shrimp and the crawdads and all that stuff, you know. And then I decided, hey, I'm going to go be a superstar. I moved to Los Angeles, California. I had no job, no nothing. And I got a job, or I went and signed up at Central Casting. And because I was 18 to look younger, I worked on, The Office. Oh, there's so many shows and television shows I was on. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where, I was featured. Just a bunch of really cool experiences. But then after 2 years of that, I got hired to work for the show Cheaters here in Dallas, Texas. And that's where we catch people cheating on their husbands and wives. So I worked for that show for the last 10 years. And right when the pandemic started, or before the pandemic started. What? Say that
Hunter
again?
Biden on there?
No, we should. We need to follow him. But I can only say so much about the cheaters. But if you guys look into it, you guys will kind of know.
Episode. I work with Alex Stein. I did. I work with him. I made him get me my coke and my hookers.
Well, dude, and that's, they say Bill Clinton is probably a homosexual. He did a bunch of gay stuff too. But that's what makes me so mad about Hillary is when he got cheating, she went after the women. But so just quick, my origin story. So then a guy, his name's Clark Gable. He's the grandson of Clark Gable from Gone with the Wind. He dies of a drug overdose, a fentanyl overdose. And they said I was really depressed, sad. I actually quit drinking and I haven't drank since. But that's kind of when I changed my life when he died. They said, Alex, you're going to be the next host. You've been working here for forever, blah, 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 blah. When it came time for me to be the host, they picked this 50-year-old black dude named Peter Guns from New York, like thinking like, I would be like, oh, well, this is different. The show's going in a different direction. He'll still work for the show. I said, F that. And that's when I created my channel, May of 2020. And here we are today.
Hey, May of 2020 is a good month, man.
Is that when you started yours? Dude, that's what I'm saying. There was something, the planets aligned. That's when it happened. And
you did something better than me, though, apparently. I'm lagging a little bit behind you now,
dude, you're like the next presidential candidate of the Libertarian Party, bro. What are you talking about? I think you're doing very well. You're much younger than me. So, I mean, dude, that's just how it goes. But me creating my own content. So at the beginning of the pandemic, you would do it through Zoom. I would call into the city council meetings and I would be, pretty serious. Like, obviously I joke, I'm a goofball. I joke about stuff, but like I spoke serious, like lockdown and blah, 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 blah. And they just looked at me like I was a total asshole. Like I was just a total tinfoil conspiracy theorist, which I am. But what I'm saying is, they just looked at me like I was, they just brushed me off. And then I noticed not just me, they were brushing off other people. Like other people would have serious stuff. Like I remember like one of the ones that stuck out in my head, a guy was like, my house caught on fire from my neighbor's house. Like the fireman didn't do a good job. And now I don't have insurance. My life's ruined. And they just looked at him like, well, tough shit. And I'm just like, man, these people are sick. These people can't help anybody. And so that's when I started going crazy, dude. And one of the first videos I did, the mayor who's like happily married with 3 kids, I called him. I was like, and Gavin McInnes, I'm not trying to name drop. He like crushed me for this joke because I was telling him this story. And I thought the joke was kind of funny, but I guess it's not. But like I said, a joke like, oh, you should give out vaccines in the gay neighborhood and call it our mayor's name is Eric Johnson. It's like Eric Johnson's free Johnson & Johnson because the gay community would like to double entendre. And, I was just like, the gay community would love you. You're a gay icon. And he's not gay. And like, I could tell he was like visibly shook. Like that's when he first remembered me is when I called him openly gay. And so after that, it was off to the races. I was like, man, I'm just going to make fun of these people. I'm not going to take them serious because they're not going to take me serious. And dude, so like I'm saying, I went viral for like the first one that actually kind of went viral is I went up there when Texas passed the heartbeat bill, outlawing abortions after like 2 weeks. I went up there and I gave a serious speech about how I'm getting all these birthing persons pregnant, and I love getting abortions because you saw those TikTok videos.
Birthing persons.
Yeah, I'm saying, but you saw those TikTok videos. Like, I don't know if you saw that was a viral trend where girls are like, "I got an abortion," like, "Oh no, baby," and like that's still a thing that's going on. Like, that's yes, dude.
I wonder if we could get a Johnson & Johnson HomoGuard commercial.
I don't know, but let me just tell you something. This TikTok thing, these people celebrating these abortions, it's sick because, say what you want about abortion. This isn't something to celebrate. This is like the darkest, I mean,
it might be a net positive because it's mostly the liberals doing it.
Yeah. You know how people are always saying we need to outbreed the left? I've always been like, well, they're all gay. They're cutting their genitals off and they're not having kids. So it doesn't seem like we just need to give it time at this point.
Yeah, but they can procreate another way. It's called child abuse.
Yeah.
Well, but see, this is another thing though. Is like a lot of people go the opposite way of their parents, not because their parents are wrong, just because they want to be different. It's like how the kids, like if their dad loves the Dallas Cowboys, they always love like the New York Giants, their rival or something. So it's like there's a lot of people that are like liberal, probably liberal mindset, and their parents are really based. Just to be
That's
different
why
from their
Ryan
base
loves
parents.
General Sherman because his dad didn't like him. So
fuck that, dude.
Hey, we got a super chat here.
Fuck General
hey,
Sherman.
Eric, what does Lindsey Graham think about what happened on 9/11? By the way, we actually don't need to have Eric do an impersonation because we have Lindsey Graham on the line. We're going to bring him in real quick.
That's right.
So, Mr. Graham, what do you think about 9/11?
Oh, hi, everybody. Nice to see you boys. Well, it's funny you talk about vaccines because my favorite one was Johnson & Johnson. For obvious reasons. What do I think about what, Reed? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. I had something in my ears. My mouth.
What do you think happened on 9/11, Senator Graham?
Well, I think there was penetration that occurred And I would like to go over to Ukraine, and I would like to be a bottom for Zelensky because he needs one. I've been sending him lots of javelins, lots of big javelin missiles, and I got a big one waiting for him, and it's enough to melt steel.
Hey, wait, is Lindsey Graham's not married with kids or anything, right? That's his story.
My wife, excuse me. My wife would excuse me. Thank you. My
Lindsey.
sister, yes.
They have rumors.
My first lady would have been my sister. She is a debutante from Savannah, and she does a great job at them parades. When I go out there and we're on the aircraft carriers and we're doing them parades, and we got missiles and warheads, and my sister is like, "Oh, I'm Lindsey's wife, and he grew up in a pool hall, and he had to do all kinds of unscrupulous things with the 8 ball and the white ball. I love black and white balls. I like all them balls." That's what we're doing. We're gonna do it. I love Hatteras Island, Ryan. I love Texas. I love what Reed's doing in Idaho. I love what the Jackmans are doing in New Hampshire. We're going to do it.
All right. Well, thank you, Senator Graham. Thanks for calling in.
Senator.
According to Richard Simmons, Lindsey Graham's so far in the closet he can see Narnia in his rearview mirror. That guy's gayer than a cock-flavored lollipop.
Well, it was unbelievable when they buried John McCain. He was in the corpse. He looked like Darth Vader when they took his helmet off. It was a total disaster. And they folded the flag and handed it to Lady G. They didn't give it to Cindy McCain. They gave it to Lindsey Graham. Unbelievable.
Lady G.
I didn't have to sign off on that, okay? I didn't have to sign off at the big thing at the Capitol. Okay, that would have been a good day to storm the Capitol, by the way. John McCain's funeral, that would have been perfect, okay?
So Ryan, what's with Ukraine sinking a Russian warship anyway? How'd that happen?
A couple Neptune missiles apparently, or it may have hit a mine. I mean, it's hard to know because they lie every single time. So when they do tell the truth, you got to be skeptical of it because they've been
off guard.
Been nothing but BS the whole time. Apparently,
they had to mix in some truth to make the
as it was
lies
being
work.
towed. Yeah, it was sank as it was being towed. And so they got one, which is okay. You sank a ship. You lost your whole Navy. So whatever. Oh, there you go.
No pants. You lost them. No, I don't wear pants. I don't wear the bottoms. Those aren't. I had to let my dog in. Sorry. See, my dog is barking like crazy. I don't know.
Same.
Wait, so you have a dog and a cat and they get along?
I got 5 cats and I got a dog, dude, and I got a turtle. I'm an animal nut, dude.
You got a terrarium.
Dude, don't even get me started. I'm a vegetarian too, so you know that freaks people out.
Your
Dude,
daughter's a 9-year-old lizard.
Yes, dude, that gets
wait. You're a vegetarian and Hitler was a vegetarian.
Uh-oh.
I'm just saying.
That means he become elected the new Fuhrer.
Kale Hitler.
Well, it's funny because I'm known for steak and shrimp, and I'm an ex-steak and shrimp eater, but I eat the tofu shrimp and the tofu steak. It's not as good.
You're in Texas, Alex. You don't even eat the beef down there. What's going on?
I know. I'm a bitch ass. I don't even do. But I'm such an animal lover because this is what I do believe that Hillary Clinton probably does some sort of weird adrenochrome stuff, and this is what I'm saying. The adrenalized blood of these animals. I'm all about high vibrational and low vibrational energy. Like I honestly do believe they want to keep us in this low vibrational state so they can keep us in fight or flight, so they can manipulate us. And so for me, it's like I believe the flesh of an animal is kind of lower vibrational. It's good for your health. My health has actually gotten worse since I'm a vegetarian. I mean that. Like I do need to supplement my B12 and stuff. But I feel
You'll end up like Adam Kokesh if you don't.
Hey, I just got sponsored.
Is he a vegetarian? No, please don't tell me he's.
Yeah. Oh, he eats your mushrooms.
Yeah.
Mushrooms, bro.
Dude, I eat so many mushrooms, and mushrooms actually aren't that good either. They say there's a bunch of bad stuff.
I'm not talking about those kind of mushrooms, Alex. These are the mushrooms you find in the jungles in Vietnam.
Oh, wait. I want to hear. Forget it now, dude. This episode is crazy. To go back to the David Duke stuff, Ryan, what the heck is going on? He's calling you out, or what he called in the show? What
I was substituting for someone else's show, and he called in and started talking about. He was fine for a little while. He's talking about Ukraine, and he is anti-war. I'm like, okay, whatever. And then got into this race realism stuff, and so we had a little back and forth because I don't.
What do you mean race realism stuff? What is that? That's a vague. What do you mean?
Those are people that believe in racial teleology, so that on average is one group superior to another or whatever. And I'm like, no.
The blacks are the most superior, correct?
Well, depends on the racist. I mean, they're all going to tell you whatever their group is the one they think is the best.
Well, why is the NFL 78% black and the NBA 98% black? I mean, doesn't that just kind of answer a question? Who is more superior races?
Well, I can get into this. So for like basketball is mostly a Southern sport, which is where blacks live. There is a genetic component to height, and so that does matter for a sport like basketball. But that's not what they're saying. They're talking about cognitive skill, which is software, not hardware. It's kind of like the language you speak. You could have like everybody in this area speaks this language. I'm like, yeah, but that's because that's what you taught them. You take those babies and put them somewhere else to learn a different language. So like your political view, your philosophy, your ideology, whatever, like that doesn't come from your race. It comes from whatever you were taught after you were born.
Your social
all software. Yeah.
There used to be a great debate between Ryan and Nick Fuentes on YouTube, but now it's gone. I don't know. Does that still exist?
Because Ryan's not allowed to be on the internet, dude. I'm nervous to even be next to Ryan. They're going to kick me off the internet.
Nick's not allowed on the internet either now. He's the second most banned person. He keeps saying he's the most banned. I'm like, bitch, I was being banned on stuff when you were in elementary school.
That's true, but Ryan, you're not on the no-fly list, though. He's on the no-fly. Like, dude,
I'm on the no-fly list for domestic
You are?
flights. Yep. Found that out when I tried to go to DC.
Shut up.
Is that why you had to fly from Canada to United States?
I had to fly straight from Tokyo all the way to DC.
And then what happens when you get to DC? How the heck do you get out of DC if you're on that list?
Well, I can fly on international airlines, so I can get on a Japanese or Chinese or something, but I can't.
Because that's not the same list or whatever. That's not a domestic list, I guess, obviously.
And it's not. I don't think it's a terrorist list. It's just none of these companies will let me fly with them. So,
base list is what it is.
I've been kicked out of banks. Like I've been kicked out of like all social media.
Ryan
I've been kicked off
special airlines,
Google AdSense, Patreon, PayPal twice. Like they even banned my wife. We even tried to well, can I get a friend to use it? No, they froze his bank account.
I heard of somebody that was banned on PayPal. They tried to get like their wife or whatever, and they immediately they're his girlfriend, and they immediately know. What is it, from your IP address or something? Like, how would they even know? I guess
I'm pretty sure they have all my info
to get everywhere.
Yeah, and the thing is, like when you were saying I'm a tinfoil hat guy or whatever, like no, I think you're a
I'm
guy.
a tinfoil hat guy.
But we could upgrade your conspiracy to become more accurate. But guys like me aren't allowed in the arena because that's their biggest threat.
Dude, I don't ever tell anybody that I know everything. I just try to get people to question the reality in which they live. I'm not a know-it-all. I don't have any of the answers. I just have some ideas. I have an idea of stuff. But like that's another thing is I don't want people to believe the same thing as me. That's why I realized like waking people up when I first started doing a podcast. I was like telling people facts. Talking about 9/11, talking about a lot of stuff. The Gulf of Tonkin, all this. Vietnam War, the Iran Contra.
You're right about that. They lied about the Gulf of Tonkin.
Yeah, what I'm saying is I was talking about this stuff and people don't like that. People don't like information. That's like what CNN does. So if you can make a joke about it, if you can joke about that we got a false flag attack that started the Vietnam War, that Jim Morrison's dad was a U-boat captain, like you try to mix that stuff into it, that's how you kind of wake people up, in my opinion. And so I don't want anybody to agree with me. I'm a nut job. I'm a psychopath. I go into these meetings and dance in women's underwear, at a city council meeting. You know what I mean? I'm not a leader.
That was everything.
Well, it's not an agreement with you or me. It's agreement with the information. I mean, if its facts are solid, they're solid. I always say, well, hey, prove it wrong.
Not being afraid.
I'm not allowed to talk. That's the problem.
To be based enough to talk about it and not be afraid. I have to say, Alex, when we were all in person, Ryan and Reed and I down in DC last month, the fucking power levels, dude, we blew the roof off the National Press Club, dude, with the levels of bass that were down there.
Dude, we were rolling our eyes at people who were speaking in that press club because we were just so much more bass than they were. We were just
nobody's bass, dude. Nobody's bass in reality because sadly, it's like you don't want to. Well, Ron Paul is, but I mean, really and truly, like. Most people just don't want to actually. It's called the cognitive dissonance. You know this. It's like they can know that they're being lied to, but they still want to think that like. It's like the pilot's going to land the plane. Nobody wants to, do us bad. The people that are the IRS has our back. Like people alphabet agencies are against us, but you still have this cognitive dissonance. Like, oh, well, I respect the flag. The people that are, making the decisions have my back. Dude, none of these people have our back.
Just eat the bat, bigot.
Yeah, speaking of eating the bat, and we were talking about earlier how Alex is a big animal lover. We've actually got Senator Rand Paul on the line. And he has a complaint about the Easter Bunny being a bit overregulated. So I don't really know what this is about, but we've got him on the line. Senator Paul, thank you for joining us.
Well, I wish I could say I'm happy to be here. Well, as you can see, I am very happy to be here. Thanks for having me. How's everybody doing tonight?
Doing well, Senator. How are you?
I'm doing very well, but I do have an airing of grievances a little bit before my Festivus that I do every year, and I think that it's really bad that the Easter Bunny is not allowed to sell unregulated, unpasteurized dairy products. They're not allowed to bring eggs on an old wagon that my father used to drive into Congress that was horseback. And that actually saved the taxpayers a lot of money back in the day. And I don't think that that's insignificant when you're talking about an Easter Bunny who really does have colored eggs. I wrote the Breonna Taylor bill, by the way, assholes. They're delivering these eggs.
That's my favorite bill.
They have it's one of mine too. Tell that to the crowd who tell that to the crowd who tried to attack me and my wife down in D.C. when I was trying to support my king a couple years ago. But what I don't think we need to be getting into is telling the farmer up the road what they can and cannot do with their eggs. And that just goes into the argument about pasteurized versus unpasteurized breast milk. People should be able to have that. If that's your kink and you want to do that.
Cambodian breast milk is delicious.
Alex, I think if you want to fill up a bottle of unpasteurized breast milk, you should be allowed to do that. You should be able to bring it somewhere.
Breast milk is disgusting. My breast milk only unpasteurized. I don't drink that pasteurized bull crap. It's disgusting. I want pure.
I think you should be allowed to bring it across state lines and not have a tariff imposed on it. Is basically my point. Happy Easter.
Agree. Yeah, the taxes are way too high. I agree.
There shouldn't be any taxes on it. Is my point.
100%.
And Rand, any update from Ukraine?
I think what's going on with the Azov Battalion is very telling right now. They're trying to get Harrison Ford back to the movie I was talking about originally when he didn't close his eyes, when the chest opened up in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Now they're de-aging him and they're trying to put him back there to basically essentially whitewash history.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Senator. We know you're a busy man.
We love you, Rand. Thank you.
I love you too.
Next audit the Fed bill. So thank you, sir.
Fauci, I'm coming for you.
Yeah,
we love Fauci. Fauci, give me that algae, dude.
Unpasteurized egg regulations. I lost it.
Holy
should be able to have raw milk. My baby had a onesie that says I drink raw milk. That was pretty awesome.
Dude,
Ryan, so tell me, what is the government like in Japan? Are they cool? Or they don't care about you because you speak in English, so you can't radicalize any people there in their country. Is that why they're okay with you being there?
I mean, it's still a government, but if you're going to compare it to the U.S. government, at least Japan is not invading and bombing and starving and sanctioning people. So that's a plus.
And what about Hiroshima and Nagasaki? Because, I'm such a conspiracy theorist. I don't even think that, nuclear technology is what they say it is. So what do you think about that? Like, I obviously think, nuclear technology exists, but the fact that we can blow up the world with one button, a million times over, I don't know if we can do that personally.
Well, something wiped out Hiroshima and Nagasaki and left radiation in its wake for decades. So,
but is the radiation that bad? They've been eating the fish and sushi there a bunch, right? And aren't their cancer levels not any higher than the rest of the area? I mean, the rest of the world.
So that kind of fear where people are like, oh, radiation just lingers around and poisons all the food. This isn't like Chernobyl or something. That's when you have radioactive material that has been scattered into something and that will kill you. This was a fission explosion. Boom. And the wake of that does affect more than the blast zone. So the radiation is going to go out and burn people and things, but that's it. It's one and done. It's not going to sit there and poison fish that haven't even been born yet.
Have you spent any time in Hiroshima? Have you ever been to those areas and spent any time there? Like, is it like We Hate America vibes there? Like when you get there? Or not really?
Honestly, it isn't. It's weird because Japan is our second biggest trading partner after Canada, and they love Americans. It's because you have to think of it like this: half the population didn't have any voting rights or rights at all until after the U.S. came in, wrote a constitution, and gave women suffrage. Right? There are a lot of people that in Japan that didn't agree with annexing Korea, invading China, and all that what the Shogun was doing. So.
One of the coolest opportunities I had was I was working for reality TV shows. They were trying to Americanize a game show from Tokyo to America, and they were going to fly me out and this girl that I was dating for 2 weeks to like test run this game show. And then this girl and I broke up. She was actually kind of a bitch, but I was going to spend 2 weeks in Tokyo, and I didn't get to. And I know it's a lovely place. You've always heard it's awesome, but I've never been. I just kind of hear about it,
Never heard of it. Being from Osaka, anytime somebody brings up Tokyo, the Tokyo Giants or anything like that, I'm like, I always say, Dade? Who?
You've never been to Tokyo? You never
I have, of course I have, but I always that's our rival city. So I'm just like, what are you talking about? You don't want to go there. You want to come down to Kyoto, Nara, Osaka. It's called the Kinky area. Kansai. It's called Kinky.
Is there a red light district there?
When you say all of them pale in cleanliness compared to Washington D.C., I just remember you being so impressed by how clean our capital city was.
All the tent cities. It's Native American cultural appropriation. Yeah, I would do videos in Japan just walking around, and I'm talking about politics, obviously, and half the comments are, "Look how clean the streets are. Look at that. There's not a single cigarette." But I'm like, yeah. I mean, that's how it was in North Carolina too. We didn't have any of that shit in Hatteras, you know. And then I go to DC, and I understand because there's actual like feces on the sidewalk and just hobos and trash and just anywhere you go.
Forget about DC. San Francisco is the worst, dude. If you go to the Tenderloin district,
they look like zombies.
Dude, you're literally stepping over human shit to go there.
Yeah.
And it's even worse. Like I used to smoke weed last time I was there. Dude, I went to a dispensary. Dude, I thought I was going to get murdered outside of the weed dispensary. I'm just saying, because that's where all the homeless people, they kind of congregate near the weed dispensary.
Some of that hobo shit-laced chronic.
Drug addicts. That's what that is. I mean, you can get welfare, you can get low-income housing, and there's even in Hawaii, you can get free housing, and they don't care. They all hang around Waikiki anyway. And they smell like shit. You can smell them from like 30 feet away. They never bathe or anything. I'm like, the ocean's right there. It's free. Like you could at least clean your butthole.
I don't think they want to bathe because there's so much people that smell like that. It's like they're like so mentally ill or something. Like they like the smell or something. I don't know. It's just very weird because you're right. Like the ones on the ocean, there's no excuse for them not even to use the shower to wash the sand off. You know, they're just like disgusting. But you know, it's funny you mentioned Hawaii, so you must live there, dude. I called into a meeting that went viral about this road and the Waipio Valley Road. I'm trying to sound like a Hawaiian. I can't. But this guy, I called him a bunch of dumb Hawaiians, and dude, it went viral just saying dumb Hawaiians, dude. And I'm saying the messages I got though did not make the Hawaiians seem very smart, to say the least.
Well, Eric met the Queen of Hawaii.
Who's the queen?
We're very good friends. Me and my friend Chelsea Gabbard. She's my friend.
Oh, Tulsi is.
Yeah. Wait, President Trump, do you know? Have you ever met Tulsi? Have you ever?
I don't know Kelsey Gabbard, but one thing I know is she's not a Russian agent. Okay, Hillary Clinton said she's a weapon of Russia. Okay, it's so wrong. And Jill Stein.
What about Jill Stein? Yeah, Jill Stein.
I don't know her, but she likes environment. Some people call her base plant lady. Okay, and she likes environment. Yeah, Tulsi. Well, keep going, Alex. What were you saying? So what happened?
Timeline.
No, I'm just saying in Hawaii, it's funny because this road, it went viral. And so I acted crazy in the meeting. And then after the ABC News, local news covered it. And they're like, and I could send it, but it's just a 2-minute clip. And they're like, well, actually, he helped the meeting because he brought us together. I can't do the Hawaiian accent, but I'm just like, man, these Hawaiians are nut jobs. If me going into the meeting, I'm just saying it's like, you know, that actually helped the meeting. And sometimes what I do does help the meeting because people are ultra serious. So then when I act all goofy, it takes away all that stress and all that, like, you know,
he's a real unifier, isn't he, Reed?
He is, yeah.
The first time I saw you doing this like live action shit posts like that, I couldn't tell if it was comedy or just a liberal because they are so clownish in real life that no amount of sarcasm can surpass how some of these people really are.
Well, that's my hero is Andy Kaufman. And like, he always blended the line of reality and fiction. And that's really what in this day and age, like, dude, with humor and stuff, now it sucks. I mean, Saturday Night Live used to be great when we were all kids, but now it's all about intersectionality and checking a box before
Saturday Night Toy as well.
Yeah.
You have to get Jerry Lawler to punch you in the face.
I would love that, dude. I will take a bomb. I try to do something with Alex Jones like that. I was like, I wanted to go into Alex Jones as a liberal and have him punch me in the face. You know,
I'm just gonna roll this real quick, just for anyone who doesn't know who you are.
You gotta get chopped by Ric Flair.
Prime time, 99 on the grind all the time. Go insane for Ukraine. A bullet in Putin's brain. I'm prime time, always on the grind. Always got a shame. I can't believe this went viral with a mic clipping like this.
What? Oh, excuse me. Come on, audio.
Dude,
no, we made the video better.
Cooking, guys.
Even a little
I got to turn down a little bit.
It's prime time. Let's start that one more time, guys. Come on in the audience. Let's vibe tonight. It's prime time. Officer, you know I'm on the grind. You know gas prices are way too high. Putin's got to die. Put a bullet in Putin's head. Yeah, that's What I said. I'm a freak for the vaccine. Vaccinate my body. At the party, sipping Bacardi. I'm the proof when I'm in the booth, spitting on the mic. Say the facts.
Look at them.
Faces. Put them in the ground.
See his legs, he's in a combat stance.
And I'm in plain old town. And you know you just got found. I'm a pimp on a blimp.
What are you eating?
No, you can't. Stop motion. And you know I grand and shine. And you know I do it on time. I'm teaching class. This is your whole pass. Zelensky is a VIP. Ukraine and I go insane. Put a bullet in Putin's brain. You know that is the plan. I'm Zelensky stand. That's it, guys. That's prime time 99 on the grand.
That looks very different than my county commission meetings when I go there.
So, Alex, how much
you're
do
all
you
serious?
How much do you plan that ahead? Was that all off the fly, or did you have any idea of what you were going to sing, or is just completely...
Dude, well, I was saying at the beginning, literally, I was walking my dog, saying oh, I'm going to do a rap, and in my mind, I'm the more cringe, the better. So I literally was just thinking the rhyme I had in my head is gas prices way too high. Vladimir Putin needs to die, and I was, I'm a freestyle king. Every white guy, has a few bars. That's just kind of how it works. So I knew that I could go there and say I'm a pimp, own a blimp. I've always said that in my freestyle rapping life. So I had some, stuff in my back pocket, but no, most of that is improv because dude, it's all about the vibes. It's literally I was feeling it. I was feeling it.
That way.
Yeah. And it's the autism just starts speaking for me. It's it's not my brain. It's the other part of it that turns on. And it's just rhyme this word. So yeah, I mean, it is, but dude, my buddy Cassidy Campbell, so he has 1 million subs on YouTube. He's been creating content for a few years and has a big channel. He started going to the meetings with me too. And he likes to plan out every word he says. I don't like to do that. I like to kind of go off the cuff just because, I'm an improvisationalist. I don't know. That's just kind of how I'd like to do comedy. I don't like to plan it because I've done that where I read the speech off there. I always miss a line. I mess up. In my mind, I do kind of have a formulated plan, but then it's off to the races. Whatever happens, and I get in there because my heart's beating a little bit. I need get the vibrational energy going, and I just say what my heart feels.
It was great, man.
It's fucking oxygen, dude. It has helped so much deal with the last 2 years because what you did, Alex, is you took all the bullshit from the last 2 years, and then the fucking cherry on top is the Ukraine Zelensky standing, and you created something that it's led me to tell everybody you are the soul of the age right now.
Wow, that's too nice. That's too nice, dude. I'm not, and I was saying this earlier, dude. I'm like Charles Barkley when he says, I am not a role model. Dude, I am not a role model. Do not follow my lead. I want to take the arrows for the other people. I don't want you to have to take them. And I'm not saying that to be a virtue signaler. I don't even like virtue signaling. I think that's annoying. But what I'm just saying is it's very easy. I'm a hack comedian to just say the audacity that this left wing has, of all the crap that they try to give us, the don't say gay bill, which doesn't even mention that. They're trying to defend, sexualizing children and stuff. With crap like that, it's easy to literally put a mirror up to it and people are like, oh, that's hilarious. I'm not even doing anything. I'm literally regurgitating the mainstream talking.
It was something that the time was right though for it, man. We needed something like that. And comedy, what if you want to call it comedy, you can't call SNL comedy, but it's just this is real and it cuts and it's funny. And people love it, man. There's a reason your videos get millions of views because you're out there doing that shit and mocking all these assholes, these self-righteous son of a bitches in their fucking city council, thinking they're all important. Look at me, and we have a motion for this and we will do this. And then fucking Primetime 99 rolls up, dude, just with a gut full of steak and shrimp, ready to go, man. Fucking peacocking and just that dude. And Reed, we gotta see video where he's recruiting for the Azov Battalion.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, when I watched that 6 times when you dropped that was literally oxygen here in the Jackman household in New Hampshire. That kept me going all week, man. That was so fucking brilliant.
That's what got me on Tucker, dude. He personally texted me after he saw that. Their producers reached out to me, and he literally, I'm not trying to name drop, but say what you will. It's about Fox News. I believe Tucker Carlson is kind of based personally. Yeah. I think so. Obviously not everybody on the network is. But dude, that video, just that one, dude, that resonated with so many people because that's how insane we are, dude. We're like so worried about the border between Russia and Ukraine, yet the border between Texas and Mexico, Kamala Harris won't even go to, dude. I mean, it's just so easy to literally just mock this.
Did you
crap.
say Texas is a big state?
Yeah, it's a huge state. Yeah, what the heck? Yeah, it's a Lone Star
I want to
state.
see you on with Greg Gutfeld. That surpassed all the late night comedians anyway. I think you'd be good.
Tucker is tiger beat cute. His hair is thick. We love him.
This is it right here. The A's off battalion.
This is fucking everything.
This is good because I brought the speaker too, and played the music after. See, they hated me in this room.
Matthews.
Marcus Matthews.
I'm at 7509 Inwood Road, and I have some handouts I want to hand out to the council members. I didn't realize there'd be so many people here, so I apologize for if there's a few short. Here, let me give you guys this.
And so what I printed off was the Ukraine Foreign Legion from their website, the recruiting thing. And if you type in "join the Ukraine Foreign Legion," it's the first thing that aggregates to the top of the search engine. You can literally join this thing. And the reason I had this idea is because
it's
they're
like
playing
ISIS from several years ago.
Oh, dude, sadly this is it because ISIS, they were like recruiting kids and stuff through like dating apps and getting girls.
All right, guys, so here, my name is Marcus Matthews.
Dude is so easy to go join and get on a plane to
in the
Poland.
Ukrainian Foreign Legion, and I'm here today to recruit some of you to go fight in the war in World War III. Now I know that sounds crazy, but what's happening right now is an absolute nightmare. There are Ukrainian children getting hit with bombs from Russian soldiers. And I ask, if even just one of you, one of you were to consider joining, it could change the whole landscape of the war.
Your fucking face.
You guys don't realize the power that you have as a council member. If one member decides to stand up and do what is right and fight for this man right here, Vladimir Zelensky, you can make the difference, officer. You can make the difference, lady on a laptop. You can make the difference, guy over there. You can make the difference.
This is me trying to be like Michael Scott.
You can make the difference. Life is short. Do you want to die a nobody or do you want to die a hero? I can tell you look like you're vibing with it. Are you interested in signing up for the American Foreign Legion and going and fighting in the Ukraine today as an American representative? And if you are, I have the sheet right here. You sign this sheet. Your name, your social security number, your mother's maiden name, and your credit card number. There is a small deposit to make sure that we can reserve your spot on this flight. It's going to give you the ability to defend this country from tyranny. Because here in Richardson, Texas, Vladimir Putin is knocking on our door. Do you want a nuclear missile coming in your backyard?
It's so funny
because
it's
just one
literally what
councilman to stand up, to not be fear, to not be afraid of the big bad boogeyman. Because I'm not afraid. I've lost my wife in this. She left me for a 19-year-old guy while I was serving for our country. And what do I have to show for it? This man right here. This is a hero. He's willing to lay his life on the line. He's willing to die for what is right. The most important border in the entire world is that between Russia and Ukraine. And you, that's right, you can make the difference. Jessica, I ask you to open your mind and think. Do you want to go to sleep tonight knowing that you could die a coward on your couch watching Netflix, or you can go sign up and you can fight and you can end the invasion of the Ukraine?
So who was the senator that was basically literally saying exactly that Russia was going to be invading us if we didn't stop them?
I bet Kinzinger probably said something like that. It'd been funny if you had Dr. Fauci on the other side and he held up wrong, like, oh, that was last year, and then turn it around.
Zelensky. No, but seriously, Lindsey Graham's the one that said we need to kill Putin. So, I mean, these are Brutus things. Like, dude, that's not diplomatic at all.
I think we should just kill him. We should just kill him. I go over there and I'll put a little ricin on my mouth and give him fellatio.
But guys, you know, this is a sad.
Will be the year of offense.
Okay, this is what's sad though, is all they did was talk about the Russia gate with Trump, Russia this. Dude, they're still using Russia as a fake scapegoat just to distract us with bullcrap. It's like, dude, it's always going to be Russia. It was in Rocky. Yep. It started off in Rocky as the boxer. And it's like, you know, they never call out China. Yet, you know, all these Disney corporations, we don't say gay, Bill. We got to make our kids gay. Yet in China, the Beast of Dumbledore, they take out all the gay scenes. So what I'm just trying to say is like, dude, they appease these these countries like China, which actually probably has beef with us. It's actually like killing dogs and cats and eating them during the Yulin Dog Meat Festival. Yeah, we'll never start a war with China because they're, I
didn't think of what a personal strike that would be against you.
That is personal to me as a cat lover. I'm just saying, like, we'll never actually go, like, and I'm not saying we need to fight a war with China. I don't want to do that. But there's other countries like Libya where we destabilized Libya. We killed Muammar Gaddafi. They actually have a slave trade there. They try to act like, we're trying to virtue signal and we're helping the world. Yet, like, when the countries that are actually doing bad stuff, we just let them go by because, that's too beneficial to us financially. So it's just sad that they're going to continue to do this, Russia that, and it's only getting more. I thought it would get less after all their fake Russiagate stuff, but dude, it's now we're in World War III with Russia. It's just
they blamed
insane.
Hunter Biden laptop on Russia too. They said it was Russian disinformation, and that was ex-intelligence people saying, "Oh no, that's Russian disinformation." It is not. It's not just one laptop; it's three. Yeah. You brought up Rocky. It's funny because I interviewed Peter Lavelle from RT, and RT's been censored everywhere, right? And we were talking about this in 2014. We're talking about Ukraine. We're talking about what's about to pop off, or the whole thing. And then in the middle, I go, you know what your problem is? You just haven't watched enough Rocky 4 or whatever the fuck it was. and it's been like that. They said they hacked the election in 2016. Hillary lost that all by herself. Had nothing to do with Russia. The election wasn't hacked. We're not allowed to talk about the election in 2020.
It was the safest election and most fair election ever. That's all.
I agree with Joe Biden. We had installed the largest election fraud.
No, it was the number one. He's the
President
most popular
Biden,
president ever, dude.
Oh, yeah. Actually, guys, speaking of President Biden,
we can shake hands with John Cena.
Well, guys, he's actually here to defend himself. We have President Biden on the line.
But Reed, did you see his invisible handshake?
Oh, yeah. We'll talk about
that. See John Cena. So we're at Four Horsemen. I'm making all the wrestling.
Mr. President, are you there, sir? Mr. President?
Oh, you mean Barack? Him or?
No, you, sir.
Come on, man. I'm the president? Yeah, you're damn right I'm the president, right, Jill? Yeah, Jill said I could have a lollipop after dinner. Go ahead, Stan.
Mr. President, so what's the deal with your son Hunter and the laptop in Ukraine?
I'm proud of Hunter, guy. Who are you talking about? You talking about Bo? He served with distinction. Eric, if I were there, I'd grab you by the scruff of the neck and bring you back and beat your ass with the cockroaches. And he served
like you did Corn Pop. Remember Corn Pop?
He served with distinction, Alex. And my daughter, Ashley, the only reason I shower with her is because she could reach the places in my back that Hunter couldn't get. Hunter couldn't quite wash that little place that Lindsey Graham couldn't get with his tongue. So I had to actually wash it, man. Come on, man.
Please don't say I love you, Joe. You're such a good president. Thank you for being the leader we need in this day and age.
Let's go back to some push-ups, wise guy. This 79-year-old ball sack will dribble on your chin. Come on,
hey, if it's for American justice, I would let that happen. If that would help in the war in Ukraine, I would let you do whatever you want to me.
President Hunter has a book coming out, right? Over here, Mr. President. Over here.
John Cena. John Cena.
Oh, that's why. That's the joke, because you can't see me. Now I get the John Cena joke. Wow.
I know it's just saying there's just extra short here. Extra short here.
All right, well, Mr. President, we're gonna let you go.
Look,
you're obviously
every single. No, Reed, you shut the fuck up, man.
Mr. President, I'm sorry, we've got to cut you off, sir. Before
every single inch of NATO, I'll get on my hands and knees for NATO, and I'll take it up the ass from Zelensky, and we'll go to the Grammys, and Will Smith will slap the shit out of it.
All right, thank you, Mr. President.
We love you, Will Smith.
Meds are on the way.
Will Smith and Chris Rock will never top the greatest event ever in theater, which is obviously the golden trophy goes to John Wilkes Booth.
Incredible.
No, he didn't win an Academy Award. He should have, right?
Well, he shot Lincoln in the theater, so.
We got Will Smith slapping people.
Other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the theater?
But the best was, who's the guy from The Godfather? What's his name? I can't even think of it.
Marlon Brando?
Yeah, when he didn't accept his award.
The Indian girl?
Oh, when Shawshank Littlefeather got up there?
It was
That was so
Apache.
base. Well,
right.
dude, and you know what's funny? You bring that up, or I bring that up, but dude, you saw the Cleveland Guardians, Tom Hanks show at the first pitch. How is the word Indian racist? Like, I just don't get this virtue signaling now that, it's literally 1984. They're deleting the history. They're deleting crap that doesn't need to get deleted. It's very
Indian is just short for indigenous. That's all that is. And it's not Indians that get offended. It's liberal white ladies on our behalf.
Of course. It's just all bullcrap. And now, like, dude, for a while, I think now they edit it where they edit all the Redskins logos off. But dude, they had it where the Washington Redskins, Doug Williams was the first African American quarterback, first black quarterback to win a Super Bowl, and they couldn't play that clip for a while because they didn't want to. They would consider it racist to show the Redskins winning the Super Bowl. So, because they didn't want to call it the Redskins. So it's just like, dude, we live in this weird world where,
I have so much So my uncle was the assistant defensive coach for the Redskins for a little while. I've met Darryl Green and Art Monk.
Darryl Green's one of the best players ever, dude. He had like a 26-year career or whatever. Yeah.
So I can get going on that. But like our whole my family's native. We don't ever give a shit about
Eric, we learned something new about Dawson's family every stream.
That they're native, and that
I was at Daryl's last game too. But anyway, there's a place called Bubba's down on the island. Bubba's dead is Bubba's 1 and 2. They used to spit on the grill to see if it's hot. It was a joke, but they would cater to the Washington Redskins. All this pulled pork. This is gonna bother a vegetarian probably, but that's what they like.
I have a cat. I eat my meat every day. I cook them meat, and I don't care. I don't give a crap that you guys eat meat. I just do it for my own thing.
I love animals. They're delicious. Yeah. If God didn't want you to eat pig, why'd he make them out of bacon?
Well, this is. Hey, listen, I'm not that. I'm not really super religious. I do believe in God, but that's what they say in the Bible, that in heaven you live harmoniously with the animals. But that's neither here nor there. But whatever. Go ahead.
I consider eating bacon is living in harmony with animals. It's already dead. Might as well do something with it,
dude. But you can eat all the bacon you want, but you can domesticate a pig to where they're basically like a dog.
Well, that's called Rosie O'Donnell.
You probably don't want to eat that one. That's called Rosie O'Donnell.
Look, you're talking about a pig and a dog. Eating a pig, turning it into a dog on all fours. That's Rosie, okay? And Rosie tried to say I went bankrupt, Alex. I never went bankrupt, okay? And if I were Barbara Walters and I were running The View, I'd fire Rosie. I'd look her right in that big, fat, ugly face of hers, and I'd say, Rosie, you're fired.
Okay, well, let's wind down with this one.
During the whole, let's get rid of the logo crap, they were like, do y'all care? We're like, no. I think... One, I don't want the government telling industry to do that. If they want to change the logo because they want to change the logo, then that's up to them, but they shouldn't be forced to do it. And it just it costs a ton because it's already printed on so many things, and it's just that wasn't brought about by Native Americans complaining. It was just part of the shit livery, the same thing that got rid of Uncle Ben. So out of spite, I got a original box of Uncle Ben where Uncle Ben's still on the damn box,
Yeah, that's awesome.
Too. I mean, why do they basically removed all people of color from every product there is? I'm like, how is that fighting police abuse? Like, where's the connection?
Yeah,
well, that's actually racist. Like nobody thinks Uncle Ben's is bad or Aunt Jemima. Like nobody looks at it. It's like, oh, like that's actually glamorizing. It's not a negative thing in my opinion.
Well, you've got you got Vikings, you've got my favorite is the Celtics. It's Celts. They mispronounce it, and they got a little Irish dude like this, but nobody cares because the Irish aren't thin-skinned. They have real problems to deal with. So do natives. Nobody cares about that. It's the people with nothing better to do, these Karen types that are like, oh, they always argue on behalf of another. And nobody spelled that out, the psychology behind that, better than this guy here.
There he is.
We call it.
I wouldn't be surprised if they changed the name of the Cowboys, for killing Indians. Like that's a joke. Cassie and I kind of came up with, dude. I guarantee, and if we, I won't live that long, but in 50 years, they're going to say the Cowboys. Yeah, of course. But they're going to say, oh, the Cowboys is racist because they're affiliated with Indians.
Oh well, whatever. I mean, it's they're killing for commercial interests. It had nothing to do with race.
Well, what about? But real quick, we've been talking about Trump. What do we think about Trump, though? I mean, isn't he kind of an Israeli? Jared Kushner.
Tell Alex the name of your documentary about Trump. What is it?
Oh, I have Trump's Sinus Ball and Chain. It's one of my movies.
That kind That kind of something. I mean,
you should watch Trump's sinus ball and chain.
We got Jared Kushner. I mean, essentially, we have AIPAC here in the White House with Jared Kushner and the settlements. I mean, he's got unbelievable settlements over there. He built incredible condominiums using the melted down steel from the World Trade Center. Okay, they cleaned off all the thermite on them, brought them over to the West Bank, and they popped these things up real quick. And then they painted the walls with 4 coats of Palestinian blood. It was unbelievable. Unbelievable stuff. You wouldn't even believe it. It was incredible. So incredible.
Yeah, Alex, you gotta
yank the anthrax off the incubators and put it on the melted steel.
Yeah, they did.
Getting mixed up with all their lies.
Alex, do you get a lot of pushback for not liking Trump or not worshiping Trump? Because I kind of built my space in a non-Trump area, so it doesn't really matter. But do you get like a lot of people upset at you that you don't?
Yeah, I mean, conservatives that are just dumb. I mean, and I'm not calling all conservatives dumb, but dude, people don't realize like if it's a lot of these rhinos, Dan Crenshaw, just because. And I'm not even. I don't even consider myself. I consider myself a populist. If anything, I don't really consider myself super conservative. Like, right. Like you guys don't want the government involved in anything. I guess the government is going to always kind of be involved in some stuff. It's just it's a nightmare that we have to live with. But the government's such an idiot. I don't like that. I guess my point being is, calling out Trump for obvious stuff, if that pisses people off and they can't see it, then they're lost. I mean, they have this thing that Trump's going to save us, dude, for 3 years. This is what makes me mad, is you look at Julian Assange with WikiLeaks, he basically handed him the election. He doesn't let him out, but then he lets Kodak Black out, which is fine. Let Kodak Black out, but let Julian Assange out. I mean, the guy like hooked you up, so, gave you the slam dunk, dude. So that's why it just makes me mad is that Trump is all about virtue signaling. He shut us down. He, he's the best vaccine salesman in the world. He even talking about how I put it out before it was even ready. It's like, dude, that's not it.
I put it in my Big Mac.
About, bro.
Put it in my Big Mac. Okay, we sprinkled it on.
And I love that. See, there's stuff about Trump I love, dude. I love fast food. Like I'm saying, I love that he was like. There's some stuff about Trump that's great. Like you can like him, but you can't worship these people because at the end of the day, he's just another government. You
can't have a nuanced view. You're not allowed to have a nuanced view. So I could say I like that he killed TPP and he got out of the Paris Accords and he had energy independence in 4 years. I don't like that he assassinated Soleimani, which could have started a world war. I don't like a lot of things, and I like some things. And if I give him credit on anything he did right, you're an orange man, ball sucking, blah blah blah. And it's like you're a light switch brain, is what they say. Either this, all for this, or all against this. Nuance isn't allowed, and that's part of the culture of social media where it creates these echo chambers. Anybody in the middle is dangerous, right?
Well, and also there was nothing more satisfying about the way he just completely took all of the media and the Democratic establishment, farted right in their face in front of the whole world, open cheek, and exposed them for the fucking criminals, liars, degenerates, and pieces of shit that they all are.
Dude, Hillary and Jeb Bush in the same.
He destroyed a Clinton and a Bush in the same, and Billy Bush too. I set that Bush on fire too. Okay,
dude, he could have easily got Hillary. He had dirt on Hillary, and he said he's going to lock her up and didn't. So that's another reason why I don't. I was
a little nice thing that we said, Alex, during the thing. But what it is Epstein probably has dirt on all of us. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. But this is what I'm worried about. It's like everybody's like, oh, Trump 2024, dude. We don't want him. He has so much baggage. Like whether you believe in the right, left, diatribe or whatever, that's all fake. But we need a guy that doesn't have as much baggage. As much as I like Trump as the politician that's going against the crazy left, dude, it just gives him ammunition. So we need like a DeSantis or somebody else to come in there that doesn't have the same. Yeah, I mean, Ted Cruz sucks, dude. I hate Cancun Cruz. I know. I mean, dude, there's nobody I dislike more than Ted Cruz, other than Beto O'Rourke, other than none of these, all these politicians suck, dude. Every single one of them.
DeSantis is a hardcore Zionist, though, man. He would have.
Oh yeah, he loves Israel. I know. Dude, you can't get the funding to run for any of these positions without having Israel funding it. I mean, that's a sad state of reality.
Ryan, you got to move back to the United States and just become a Christian and a Zionist and be like, just pretend to be both, and then be like, all right, I'm doing this, and then get in there and then just do what you want to do. So.
Well, I mean,
I thought about running for Congress in North Carolina because I think my district would elect me just on the beach erosion issues and stuff I've already been fighting against and winning. So I can actually point to things that we got done.
So you're a climate change believer.
Pages declassified. I really believe if all this energy that's wasted yelling at buildings, if 10% of those people would actually legally go in the building and meet with a representative and talk to them like an adult, That'd be way more effective than slinging shit back and forth on Facebook and playing the bongos in the park.
Or move to New Hampshire, right, Eric? That's the other way.
Absolutely move to New Hampshire.
Pork Fest over in my mind. It's just that the DC thing. I don't know if I can get to New Hampshire. They don't have international flights. So.
We'll get you in the Underground Railroad.
Yeah.
Fly to Canada and then to New Hampshire.
Stein, you should come to the Pork Fest too, man. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Oh, Alex,
I heard it's nuts.
That's the same time as Daniel McAdams' gig with Ron Paul in Houston, though. That's in June too, I think.
Yeah, I think that's in June. I think it's earlier though. So I'm going to be driving across the country. So if you want to fly to Utah, could make a road trip out of it to New Hampshire. I don't know.
Mitt Romney will get some chocolate milk and talk to some of our wives.
You're going to pick me up. And dude, I saw you shifting gears like a badass. A lot of people can't do that, Reed. You know, you got that big rig. And dude, in that heavy piece of equipment, though. So you have those pilots, you have front and back pilots. How do you just talk to them on the CB the whole time, or are you not even talking to them that much, really?
Yeah, I mean, you only need 2 in some areas. Like I needed them. I picked that thing up outside of Portland. So to drive through Portland, I needed 2, and then we let the other one go. And then I just had the guy behind me. And yeah, just on the CB. So
wow, you're lucky that they didn't, try to steal that thing in Portland and burn it up. I mean, that place is
I just drove through Portland and then got the machine outside and then drove straight through again. I didn't want to stop at all. But
well, dude, that's another politician. Ted Wheeler has totally changed the public comment. They still do their meetings over Zoom because, of course, they love that. But dude, they've like limited the public comment to like only 3 speakers because I've had the viral videos where I'm the fake Antifa talking about how the fentanyl is so good and like, but my dealers are vaccinated. I'm just saying, dude, that he's like literally they burned down the courthouse, the federal courthouse building for 60 days. They tried to firebomb it. Yet, the insurrection, they didn't arrest one person, and one lady for throwing a firebomb now is under house arrest for like 60 days, some slap on the wrist thing. Yet all the people that walked between, the ropes during the insurrection, jail, 16 years, 6 years, 10 years minimum.
Yep. Dude, we need to get rid of Ellen's show and give that to fucking Q Shaman. All right, he needs his own show and he needs it right now. We need him
Q
out of
is
jail.
bullshit too. Q. That's the thing. That's another psychological operation. Yeah, it's like I don't vibe with Q either.
That's
it's
just that's a Watkins son and father just trolling the whole fucking world from a massage parlor over in Japan, basically.
Yeah,
Philippines.
Oh, is that where they are? The Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, people want to believe because there are child predators, there are weird stuff that they mix in some truth, some true conspiracy with a bunch of fake crap, and then you're like, oh, look at these drops, I have inside information. That's the bad thing about the conspiracy world. There's the 2 bad things about the conspiracy. People think is they understand conspiracies that they're like in on this big secret, that nobody else knows, which is not really the case. And the other thing is like like the hopelessness. Oh, you're a conspiracy theorist and the world's hopeless. You have no, and that's not the case. Just because there's conspiracies doesn't mean that I don't have any hope for the world. I mean, sadly, I'm a little black-pilled into thinking that, we are being run by multinational corporations that are probably going to, have more power than human beings at the end of times. But I still think that we can do something in our lifetime and make a difference. And that's what I'm trying to do, And
I love that meme of the solar system, and this is a little tiny grain where Earth is, and there's an arrow that says, "You're here paying taxes to pedophiles."
Yeah, that's about right.
Hey, we got a big super chat from P1 Dizzy. Appreciate your time tonight, gentlemen. So worth the wait. # we are right in Dawson. Nice set, Alex. There you go. Thank you.
My tits. Talking about my tits. I got big tits. I had they were stuffed in that one thing. The diet starts tomorrow because I'm about to meet somebody. I'm about to meet a nice little lady for some Mexican food. So I'm going to get the cheese enchiladas.
I'm kind of disappointed, Alex, that you don't eat the steak and shrimp, but I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that.
I know, but dude, it's steak and shrimp is a lifestyle. It's a mindset, dude.
Alex,
it's like,
how long have you been off the booze for?
Going on 3 years now. I don't drink, wow. and I stopped smoking weed a few months ago, and I really haven't looked back at smoking weed either.
Yeah,
dude, if you're
young, had to be hard every April 14th. I could.
You mean 420?
That's when Lincoln got shot. No, you got to celebrate.
That's the Ryan Dawson 420.
Yeah. Lincoln got shot when Lincoln died, and then the pink moon all in a row 3 days this year. We almost had Easter and the death anniversary of the tyrant on the same day.
Wow.
But that's great.
Then you'd have to look out, Ryan, because what if he rose back from the dead after 3 days? Then you'd have to shoot him again, Lincoln.
He did. It's called the Federal Reserve.
That's great, Alex. Over 3 years. I'm doing 6 months this first 6 months of this year off booze, so I've been off it since January 1st, and it's been great. I feel really good.
Well, dude, listen, like if somebody's out there suffering from anxiety and depression, I can't heal that, but you're never going to heal your brain. I'm not saying when you're drinking all the time, because it's constantly just going to, mess up your brain chemistry. I mean, it's literally like, one of the most toxic things you can put in your body. And I'm not saying don't have a little libation and have a little fun, but drinking the beer every night, oh, I'll only drink a couple. It does have effects on your mental health. That's all.
Absolutely, it does.
Yeah, definitely. No, I felt really clear, and I've been enjoying it. So I'm going to do at least 6 months, and I'll see when I get to July. I'm waiting until July 10th. It's my dad's birthday. I'm going to see Brian Wilson and Al Jardine from the Beach Boys, who were one of my dad's favorite bands.
You got to have a beer at the Beach Boys.
Yeah, so I'm going to have a beer then.
Talk about good vibrations. That's the Beach Boys knew is all about vibrational energy. Yeah, come on, man.
But yeah, props to you.
What I like about drinkers is they don't deny the negative effects. They're like, yep, yes, it does that. Other drugs, you got people in full denial. They're like, no, there's no negative.
Oh, see, that's the thing is weed. Well, that's the other thing. It's like, I do believe weed probably has some sort of like, it's not anti-cancer benefits, but kind of like, I think they have THC. Like what I'm trying to say is like Willie Nelson smokes forever. And this is another thing is I do think
anything that reduces your stress reduces odds for cancer.
Yes. So that's why it can be a little helpful, but then you always see, this is the other thing. This is the devil's advocate. You always see like it's Darlene's 103rd birthday. What's your secret, Darlene? It's like some like black woman or like some woman's like, I drink a pint of liquor a day and I smoke 10 cigarettes. So it's weird, it's kind of, it's like different strokes for different folks is what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's obvious. It affects different people differently. And that goes for alcohol or marijuana. There's some people that can drink every day and they're fine. Some people can't even drink ever, or they lose their shit. And
some people smoke crack all day, and their life's great.
People that get all schizophrenic and weird on it. So, just depends on the strain, depends on the person.
Hunter's a smart guy. He gives crack a good name.
So, Alex, what's in the near future for you? What are you up to? Just the sky's the limit?
I need a viral video, man. I need a viral video. I don't know. I mean, I did. You'll probably see me on the Blaze TV a little bit with the greatest human being ever, Glenn Beck. But I'm just kind of saying that.
You should do a rap with my Epstein map in the background.
That's what I'm gonna do. But yeah, I mean, dude, I don't know. I mean, in the future, just as long as I don't get deplatformed, I'll keep grinding. That's the only thing I'm worried is I don't want to turn into Ryan. No offense. I'm just saying, as soon as you get effective in like waking people up.
I was getting banned before it was cool.
Yeah, you immediately get banned. So, dude, as long as I can keep cooking, I'm going to keep serving the steak and shrimp to pimps like Eric and pimps like yourself, Rita, and pimps like Ryan. So, yeah, y'all the buffet is going to stay open until they close it. If that's what
Doug Stanhope thing, right? Out evangel the evangel. Like you were saying, we just put a mirror up to it. Like, yeah, just go full tilt, more leftist than them.
Exactly.
Like Carlin said, anybody driving slower than you is an idiot. Anyone driving faster than you is a maniac. Right.
That's a good thing. That's a very good example. George Carlin's a beast. But yeah, I mean,
it's American Dream speech. You just have that whole thing like they own all the banks and businesses. They took all this a long time ago. And then you just put that American Psycho clip right after that. Whoa, cool it with the anti-Semitism.
Yeah, but that's also though it's people don't even. This is one thing. It's like when you try to wake people up. You have these companies like Vanguard and BlackRock have made it. Just totally deleted the middle class by artificially raising the price of all the homes. Because they have an endless amount of money. So the American dream is dead. People don't even have the money. They start off $100,000 in debt for a college degree they're not going to use. So people are showing
20% of Twitter.
Well, exactly. Yeah, they own probably more than they say 20%, but they probably have some sort of subsidiary companies that own even more of it. That's why guys like Elon Musk. I don't even think Elon Musk is a hero. The guy's crazy. Him and Grimes are naming their baby like XZY. I mean, if that's our hero, we're screwed, guys. If Elon Musk is our hero, we're toast.
Dark times. That's what Reed and I have this joke. Or I have this joke. It says we're so far in our own end zone. Blah blah blah. It's kind of like you might be a redneck if we're so far in our own end zone. 3 libertarians on the show are supporting Larry Elder because Gavin Newsom's so bad, right? We're so far in our own end zone that Elon Musk, that names his babies after numbers and stuff and wants to colonize Mars or whatever,
put a chip in your brain and put a chip in your brain.
He's our only hope.
To be fair, I supported Caitlin for California. Surprise!
Yeah, we love Caitlin.
We have to
Caitlin. We love Caitlin. Caitlin is.
We have to protect women's sports, and I saw what you did at the city council there. You spent 3 hours tucking. I spent 4 hours. Good for you, sister. Surprise!
I love you, Caitlin.
I love you too, Alex. Let's take some laps in my pool and Have some mimosas.
Anytime, Caitlin. Anytime.
Yeah. So, Alex, I know Alex Jones is really, really proud of you, and he's actually here. He's on the line, and he really wants to just tell you how impressed he's been with the work that you've done, and he actually he has some concessions to make about 9/11. Apparently, he's changed his mind on a couple things.
Right.
So here he is. We'll see what he has to say.
Alex, I love you. I love what you're doing. I love that you host the 19th hour of Infowars. We do this every day. I mean, we are grinding and shining. We are doing Blue Pill Plus. We're doing Red Pill Plus. We're doing any Pill Plus. Sandy Hook kind of fucked me. Or I kind of fucked him. Anyway, I think they're here nor there. I want to talk about the scorpion and the frog. This is a 20th century Russian fable, folks. I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but we are doing things that are not in man's good interest. We are going to take the ride, even though we know the scorpion is going to sting us, folks. SaveInfowars.com. We're going to bring it to you. Forget about Glenn Beck. Infowars.com. Hosting that 19th hour, Alex. I need you to do it every day. What do you say?
Dude, thank you for that super male vitality. It keeps me harder than Chinese arithmetic. That's why, I got a lot of ladies coming out of the woodwork. They need the D, and because of you, Alex, because of your supplements, I'm able to give them that hard rock they want.
This is colloidal silver. These are colloidal silver injections, folks. Okay, when you're fighting a demon like Kamala Harris, you got this nasty demon like Kamala Harris.
Colloidal silver, dude.
You gotta have colloidal silver. You gotta get that thing hard. You gotta have Larry Silverstein building his building with my colloidal silvers. Infowars.com.
Alex Jones, I got one question. When Trump was on your show, you let him get away with saying the dancing Muslims in the streets instead of the dancing Israelis, but you have a retraction to make and a correction. Is that correct?
I'm not retracting anything. There were thousands of dancing Israelis, and Muslims, and everybody. And I had a bowl of chili, and my lawyer talking about. I was in Connecticut last week. I was talking about Sandy Hook. Look, folks, I may have said a couple of things about the coroner at Sandy Hook, but I shouldn't be fined $25,000 a day because I didn't show up. Just because my jet was late because I had diarrhea from a bowl of chili that I ate. I don't think that's what should happen. So I think I just, the New York Times didn't, get fined when they lied about the Iraq War and they protected Judith Miller and all their neocon sources. Larry Silverstein said, pull it. They brought the building down. It was a huge gas explosion. That wasn't my fault. That's not my fault, Reed. I don't understand why you and Ryan Dawson are always attacking me on your channel, and I'm sick of it. And I want to challenge Ryan Dawson right now to a KY jelly ranch down in North Carolina. KY jelly, pour it on me. Bring it. American Indian versus American Alamo. Let's do it. I'm not. Do you think I'm disinfo, Ryan? Let's take our shirts off right now and do a weigh-in.
Do it.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Jones.
I love you. By the way, I love all of you. I'm not gay, but I love all of you.
I love you, Alex. Thank you.
SaveInfowars.com, the 19th hour, Alex Stein. Forget about Glenn Beck. Forget about his sob story. Forget about what he's doing. Forget about his globalist agenda. Infowars.com.
All right.
And $20 super chat from B Hayes 82. Thank you for that.
Oh, yeah. God. Great show, guys. Thank you. So, we'll wrap it up. We won't keep Alex around for too long. Eric, what's coming up on your show? Got anything interesting? Anything you want to plug?
Yeah.
And also, just close us out with who have we not heard from tonight? Who has a special take?
Reed, I had some shekel chats for you too.
Okay, well, you can read those first.
Real
if you
quick.
want.
Rolf Peterson says, "Cheers, thank you for your work." P1 Dizzy, what is the 1 to 3 questions you would ask a historian or history professor to figure out in not so obvious way if he's based or not? And Mike Taylor says, we ever going to see Owen Benjamin Ryan stream Primetime 99? You're funny as hell, bro. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. You guys need to get Owen on. That'd be great on the Four Horsemen.
I agree. I think we should have him on now. Get all of us in there. I don't know if we can answer the historian question if you're out of time, Reed, but
Oh no, I don't. Alex, you got a few more minutes, or you got to run?
I got a couple more minutes. I'm supposed to meet somebody, but the historian question, let me answer that. How do you ask your teacher? How do you figure out if your teacher is based? I mean, I think it's pretty simple. You'd ask about 9/11. I think that's a pretty good way. I mean, we just ask him what he thinks happened to that. I mean, what other questions do you guys ask to see based?
Well, we're so far in our own end zone. I'd say how many genders are there? Anything other than 2, you can throw that one out.
Well, this is how I can beat your argument there, because technically there's more than 2, because some people, I'm just playing devil's advocate. There are a very small 0.1% of people are born intersexed. And that's what I hate, because I have these arguments where like, oh, men can compete against women because
only intersex people only have one set of working organs. So that's the one they are. But you're right. There are more than 2 genders. There's male, female, and a whole bunch of losers.
Yeah, and I'm not even one of these guys like there's 50 genders. I'm just saying, that's what that's their card. They're like, oh, so you want to exclude intersex people from competing against women? It's like, no, I don't want to do that at all. Leah Thomas still has a cock and balls. There's nothing intersex about Leah Thomas. It's just a argumentative tool that they use, which you can't really debunk because there are some people born with both genitalia. But listen, like you said, neither of the genitalia work. Like they can't. There's no intersex person that can have a baby.
Well, either one works or the other. Both can't work at the same time. So,
that's why they have puberty blockers for children and all that stuff. Is because there's sometimes the baby they decide at birth and they give it gender reassignment surgery at birth and then give it medicine right then and there. So that's why they have all this.
Even though Michelle Obama has a penis, obviously her ovaries were working because she had children. So that's
well, we don't have any pictures of her with pregnant. We don't have any pregnancy pictures of her. I still think
Big Mike. We call her Big Mike. She's got quite the schlong. Look, Hunter Biden's got a big old schlong, but boy, not as big as Big Mike. Okay, big Mike.
All right, Eric. Yeah, close us out with. Let's hear from. We haven't heard a ton from Jesse Ventura tonight. So
not as big as his older brother either. He's complaining.
Hey, we got to ask about Ryan. Jesse Ventura would go on all those shows and say 9/11's an inside job. That was base, but then now he's the biggest vaccine salesman. So it's like, what you think? You think he got bought and sold out by somebody, or I mean, what the heck? What do you think the story is with him? Or he's just so dumb now?
He's done that on a few things, like the Wellstone thing. He's like, I was a pilot that he shouldn't have flown, and then he's like, oh, he was clearly murdered. He flip flops on things where it wins one, but he's an older guy and he panicked because he's in that bracket of individuals that might actually get hit hard by COVID. So he wants everybody vaccinated and masked, and he's a Yankee at the end of the day. So he's gonna
have anything to defend yourself with there, Mr. Ventura, after all those accusations?
Well, and did he punch? What's his name? What's the
Kyle, the American liar. He lied about me, Alex, to sell books. He slandered me that I wasn't even there that night. And I'm on blood thinners. You think an ex-governor was at a SEAL bar and got punched out by some maniac sniper from Clint Eastwood's Jerkfest movie with Bradley Cooper, who did a subpar job playing him, actually happened?
And they used a fake baby. That's why they didn't win any awards, just because they had that fake baby.
That's right, Alex. You guy, it never happened. And Chris Kyle, Ron Paul said, live by the sword, die by the sword. And that's what happened to Chris Kyle, the American liar. But I would say get vaxxed. I like the mask. I wear the mask when I go out to Costco because I'm a senior now. I'm 70 now. I'm a boomer. And I
love the mask. My favorite thing.
Excuse me. I get a 20% discount now at Costco because I get senior rates. And I keep the mask on at Costco because I'm done talking to people. I lost my freedom of speech after the Iraq War. MSNBC bought my silence, and then Vladimir Putin gave it back when RT hired me. Okay?
Vladimir
Putin. It's
Vladimir.
what's happening over there now. But get vaxxed, wear your mask, stay socially distant. 9/11 was still a part-time job. God bless Alex Stein.
7-Eleven was a part-time job.
Part-time job.
Right. All right, Jesse, where can we follow your show? Keep up with everything.
I think I might actually go cross-eyed after doing that. Well, I'm off RT. I'm off the grid. Yeah, Jackman Radio on Twitter, Instagram is Senator Jackman. I'm on Patreon, patreon.com/Jackman Radio. I'm on Venmo, Senator Jackman 86. If you like what I do, send me a tip, send me a request. I'll send you a nice cameo video of me in a bikini that Melania made for me, and we can talk about some things going on down at Mar-a-Lago. We're on YouTube. The links are all down there. Please subscribe on YouTube. We've been building that channel up. And the podcast is on all streaming platforms.
All right, Ryan, where are you not banned off of?
Yeah.
So Odyssey, BitChute, Gab, and Substack. So far, I still have a Substack. I don't know how long that'll last, but Yeah, I can't use any of the mainstream anythings. Too truthy. Too many facts.
That's good. I don't want you on there spreading your disinformation. Thank God.
Yeah. Never. we wouldn't want to do that. So yeah, Substack, I guess. I have a Telegram as well. Some countries it's banned in certain countries, but right now you can still get on in the US. So yep. Then I guess those links are below as well. William Wallace just sent a Chad super chat. It says, not sure what's funnier, Datamir or Chadamir.
Vladimir Putin was good to the body. We had some good years. Now, not so much.
Lindsey Graham said Zelensky was good for the body.
Oh. All right. Prime time 99. Alex Stein, where can everyone keep up with you? And you got any final thoughts you want to close out with?
Well, we learned some new stuff about 9/11 tonight, some information. We talked to some very funny guys. It was a pleasure to meet you, Ryan. I've met Reed and Eric already and Mike. But this is what I'm trying to tell you is look into this stuff for yourself. For the people watching this, don't believe anything I say. Do your own research is the only serious thing I'll say. And if you guys want to find me, it's pornhub.com/Alex Stein. You'll see my videos there. A lot of working videos. No, you didn't. Right?
Yes, I did. Yep.
What did you? You had an account on Pornhub?
They're not going to censor. It's Pornhub, right?
Mia Khalifa.
Well, if you guys want to see me, if you guys want to see
Mia Khalifa, apparently I'm not.
You want to see 5 inches of super male vitality? All you got to do is go to Pornhub.com, type in Alex Stein Conspiracy Castle, and you're gonna
stay hard. The New World Order, hard as a rock.
You're gonna see stuff that you've never seen. Positions that the New World Order doesn't want you to know about. I'm talking about, some really sick stuff. So, other than that, yeah, I mean, that's the only place I want to direct you to. That I don't follow me anywhere else. I'm trying to build my Pornhub channel up. It's hard.
Alex.
It's harder than you think. As a guy being only 5 inches, it's very difficult. But I'm trying.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for watching. I will be having I'm having a few people on this week. I'm having Dave Smith on Tuesday. We're gonna have Adam Kokesh on Tower Gang on Wednesday.
Whoa.
So make sure
I gotta
you go
watch
check
that.
out.
I gotta see the drama on that.
So everyone go over, subscribe to Tower Gang. You can find it on YouTube, Odyssey. It's also on Twitter if you're not following it already. And with that, we will say good night.